Hi folks. Okay, so I've removed the rear caliper from the VFR 800 because I thought it was sticking, I thought it was binding. And once I'd removed it, I tried turning the rear wheel by hand, and I found that actually the rear wheel was just as kind of sticky and difficult to turn by hand as it was when the caliper was on the bike. So I've realised that actually it's not the caliper that's the problem. It's actually it must be something else that's a problem. I thought it could possibly be the rear wheel bearing, but then I kind of examined the drive chain, and I realised that the drive chain is basically very kind of dirty and greasy and stuck up, and a lot of the links are actually kind of seized. And I think actually it's the chain that's making the rear wheel kind of difficult to turn. So what I decided to do was actually replace the chain. I started trying to clean it with some of the degreaser that I've got, but it wasn't really doing very much. So I just decided that it would be easier just to replace it. So I've ordered a new chain off eBay, and that's now in the post, so I'm just waiting for that to come, and when that comes I'll fit that. So I'll probably be doing that this weekend, or maybe in an evening, but we'll see how it goes. It depends on kind of like the weather and all the rest of it. So that's the plan, to replace the chain on the VFR, and hopefully that'll solve the problem of the rear wheel being kind of sticky. As for the caliper, the plan was to rebuild the caliper. I have actually got a rebuild kit. I haven't really decided. I might rebuild the caliper as it's off the bike already. Might be just worth doing it while it's off, or kind of depending how time goes, I might not bother. I might just kind of clean it up a bit and put it back on the bike. As you can see, it's quite kind of dirty. Basically everything on that bike is kind of dirty, because partly because it's an old kind of high mileage bike. It's like 20 years old and has 75,000 on the clock, and partly because I've been using it through the winter, so obviously it has kind of got grunged up and stuff. So I don't know, I mean, I'll certainly clean the caliper, and I might also rebuild it. I've rebuilt a lot of calipers, so it's not a difficult job for me, but obviously it just takes a little bit of time, and you know, I'm trying to kind of get on with the engine build, and get the chain replaced and do other bits and pieces on the bike for the MOT. So I can't say for sure that I'm going to rebuild it. It may get done, or it may just get cleaned up and put back on the bike. And then obviously once it goes back on, I'm going to have to kind of bleed the brakes a little bit, because there'll be a bit of air in, a bit of air in the system. So that's pretty much it. That's kind of where I'm at with the Honda at the moment. But hopefully I'll get some other video up later on this week. Maybe do a video showing the chain replacement, possibly, depending on kind of like what the weather's like and all that kind of thing. Alright, that's great. Thanks very much for watching.